Sebastian Telfair. Everybody's talking about this, and he's put out. I don't even know if it's he, but whatever group it is, put out a documentary. It's a two-part. I don't know if they. I think they're gonna have another part, but the first episode was 5 minutes long. Second episode was a little over 7 minutes, and it's Sebastian Telfair before he had to turn himself in and do a 6-month bid that he's currently doing right now. Should be out in early January. He's back at home in the P's in Coney Island after blowing through his money. His 20, he made over $20 million in his 10-year career. Normally, I have some jokes and try to make light of things, but it truly made me sad because for a guy that is a New York product, like being a New York product, going to a New York school, being the #1 rated high schooler in New York City, being able to then bypass college to be able to go straight to the NBA. He did that, and he was a 10-year veteran. Wasn't a star, but for you to stay in the league for 10 years, that's pretty impressive for a guy that chose to come out of high school. Sebastian Telfair has made some mistakes in his life. He had the gun charge that put him in some big trouble. And during that time, he said he was going through a divorce and all this other stuff and didn't have access to his pension money or whatever it was for the NBA. And because he was dealing with the Fed charge, now I think his NBA account got frozen and he didn't have access to nothing, didn't have any bread. His mom had to help him out. And Terrence Williams, who was his man, convinced him to be able to let him help. Terrence Williams was able to get back into his account, and they labeled that fraud. It's his money. He didn't take anybody's money according to him. He just tried to get access to his own bread. So to see him back in the P's again, just seeing how he's living, he has babies. It's just really, really disheartening. And look, it's not one of those things where he's super sad about it. You got to make the best out of your situation, but it just goes to show you that, certain decisions that you make in your life, man, you can be able to be right back to square one if you're not careful. This is a guy that, again, made several millions of dollars in his career. You would have thought that he would be set up for life. Would have probably invested somewhere to be able to have that money just gaining interest. No. But it's a tale that we hear and see depending on who you are and what your life experiences are all the time. A guy like Sebastian grew up in New York City playing ball. I'm sure he had dudes that was in the neighborhood taking care of him. So for him, when he gets to the league, he feels obligated to have to, reciprocate that and take care of people. You got family members that are coming to you for assistance, need to pay their mortgage or pay their rent or whatever it is. Now you're gonna go ahead and instead of giving them 1 month, now you paying it off. You paying their rent now, and that's one person turns into 5. And now you're juggling all of these things. Your AAU coach that helped you out to get you some money or get you a look. Now you got to give him something. Now you got to set up your mom. Like all of these things you have to go ahead and do. You look and see how much money you have left, and you don't have any money left. You don't have a rainy day fund because you've given everybody everything that you have because you feel the need to have to give that back. That door closed, right, Money? Yeah. So you feel the need to have to give that back. And to see Sebastian be right back to where he was, man, it just breaks my heart. It breaks my heart for him to have his, kids have to grow up like that or whatever it is. Look, I'm not passing judgment on nobody that grow up in the sticks, grow up in the peas. But for a guy that got out, that has to come back, that should never happen. There should always be something that prevents that from happening in your brain. And these are the things that make me sad because there's no guidance or no advice or no restrictor place that are out there for certain people when they get to a certain level. They might be there, but because you're in a mindset that now you don't want to listen or you think that the money is never going to run out, that's a problem. And I don't want a guy like Sebastian Telfair to be the bad example of what not to do. I'm hoping that he can be able to figure out a way to turn this around and make something of a bad situation, whether it's he's now going to be a motivational speaker, he's now going to do something. Hey, everybody got a podcast now. You're a basketball player. Go ahead and try to see and make your way there. I don't know what it is, but I just don't want to see this be the end for him. Like, just watching him doesn't even look like him.
Facts.
Like, I remember what he looked like. And obviously, everybody's a lot older now. But, he just looks like a shell of himself. He doesn't look like him. And I just want to make sure that I hope that when he does get out, there's something positive that's set up for him to be able to continue to help support his family and all this other stuff. Because making X amount of dollars in the NBA and now coming back to nothing it's one of the saddest stories I've ever heard. It really is.
It's a big reality check. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, you're back to your reality pre-money. Pre-money.
Yeah.
And then to have your kids there too, it's like I was doing this to make the situation better for everyone that I'm now seeing every day. You know what I'm saying? Back in the same space. And it's
like,
it's
crazy.
And I was thinking about it, like, do we kind of put blame on the NBA in some ways for that? Because having a kid come out of high school, come into the NBA, there should be, you would think that there would be like things set up for him to where he would get some type of counseling or, money management when he first comes into the NBA. Like, because you don't really see those things happening to newer athletes. Those things happen to athletes that came out in, like, 90s, 2000s, things of that nature. Like, the newer athletes kind of have more of a better money management. I don't know if it's from agencies like they're being managed by, or it's just the NBA putting things into place because of things that happen to people like Bass.
That's a great question. I don't know if it's the NBA's responsibility to have those programs in place. I think that you're looking at it from the NBA standpoint. Think about it, right? They are a business. So they are employing 19-year-olds to be able to earn a certain amount of money. You're now in the 1% of earners in this country. It is your responsibility to be able to figure it out. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
But yes, I believe that there has to be something in place, whether it's, the NFL the NBA PA, to have certain things and certain programs that players can be able to join and understand how to be able to be financially literate. But at the same time, too, those programs might be there, right, Money?
Maybe, yeah.
But it all depends on if you want
To
to
actually, yeah,
take
heed,
that,
yeah. Because like for
right?
instance, right in the NFL, when like during the NFL like combine for the rookies and stuff, they have like um what is it, like lectures
Yeah,
for
symposium. Yep.
symposiums for like money management,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying, how to understand like stock, like
Hmm.
the stock market and things of that nature. But you don't hear about that in the NBA.
I think they have the same thing. Honestly, I think they have the same programs that are set up for these players. But at the same time, I just think that some players just believe that the money's never going to run out. That's the biggest problem, is that when you employ these kids, and they are kids, you know, they never think that they're going to be on the opposite side of it.
Yeah,
And the difference now than when Sebastian was 18, 19, there's no NIL.
that's true too. Yeah.
So you got these kids now that are used to having money.
Mm.
They already have their financial advisors. They have their accountants that already have their things set up. So when they get to the next level, it's just a next level of money.
Yeah.
But they always have had money since they've been an athlete.
True. Yeah.
So that's the way to control it, because they've been able to. You think about how it is when we was growing up. You couldn't take any type of money. There was no deals that you can take. You had to be a broke student athlete, and then you expect these broke student athletes to go from having no money one day to being millionaires overnight. How am I supposed to handle that? Right?
So,
As an 18-year-old, you're trying to tell me that the $1.5 million that I might have made as a rookie, I'm never always gonna have that? Of course I'm gonna always have that. Because I'm gonna be in the NBA for 20 years. Right? So if I'm in the NBA 20 years and I'm making $2 million a year minimum, do the math. I'm walking out of here with at least 40. That's how people are thinking, because they never think that the money is gonna run out.
yeah.
Not realizing that life happens. You get hurt. Your game doesn't produce at that level. Teams don't want you. They're not giving you a shot. And you're flushed out of the league in 5 years. What did you do in those 5 years with the money that you earned? You didn't save it because you never thought that you would be there in 5 years. You thought you'd still be playing. So again, there's so many different problems to this story, because it's not just his story. It's a story for many other people, that you get to a certain level, and whether through your own ego, your own mistakes, you go ahead and you jeopardize and you lose it all. Right? Who put the gun in his hand? Nobody did that. But why did you feel that you needed to have that?
I mean, it's Coney Island.
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
It's Coney
it's
Island.
it's but again, when you've elevated to a certain point, it should never have to come to that point where you need to now strap up to go back home. But some people have those environments. But why put yourself in that environment? So these are the decisions that you make that can cost you everything. You know what I mean?
That's a fact. Oh,
It's I don't blame them for doing it, because it's about survival. I get it. But you make the decisions. The choices that you make sometimes have stark ramifications. And he's an example of that. And it sucks.
sucks.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's not one of those things, oh, you live it, you gotta sleep in the bed that you made. Nah. I understand the bed that you made. I get why you did it. But at the end of the day, I still can be able to sympathize and empathize with you, because I don't wish that on anybody. I don't wish you still growing up or still living in the same roach apartment that you might have grew up in. You sat in that apartment as a kid thinking of how to get out of this apartment to be able to make sure that your mom has better. I want to play in the NBA because I want better for myself. Not be back here. So.
Hope y'all had Bass be on soon. Maybe you could pull like one of them, like the knucklehead moves. You know what I'm saying? Become like a Quentin Richardson. You know what I'm saying, Darius Miles, because they damn
That's what I'm saying. Too, like there is always the resurgence story that there's something out there for him. Just gotta figure it out. You know, he when you hear him talk, he's a guy that's very articulate. He can be able to speak. There's something out there for him. He just got to figure it out. Like I said, everybody in their mind got a podcast. Go ahead. You know, hopefully Gilbert Arenas put you on Gil's Arena. I'd love to hear him on Gil's Arena. Take Brandon Jennings off because I can't. Man, he made Rashad. What was his name? Rashad McCants look like Ahmad Rashad. It's crazy.